Noah wants to become a professional dancer, but the dance school only accepts applicants of over 17. He has two sisters. Noah's sister Jenny is twice as old as Noah. Noah's sister Nina is twice as young as Jenny. She turned 17 this year. Can Noah apply for his dream school this year? Yes, he can. Noah and Nina are of the same age because they are twins. So Noah is 17 years old. Noah wants to look good during his entrance exams, so he goes to a beauty salon. One of these hairdressers is an imposter. Can you guess who? Look at the first guy. He doesn't have any scissors. Instead, he only has some spoons. So, he's the imposter. Noah's haircut is ready, and now it's time for rehearsal. Noah arrives at his dance studio. But unfortunately, he can't open the door. Someone changed the 6-digit password on the combination lock. Can you help him crack the code? Take a look at the graffiti on the door. These letters are hints. If we replace each letter with its number in the alphabet, we'll get the code 231911. Problem solved! Noah enters the studio and faces 4 people in creepy costumes. One of them isn't human. Can you figure out who? The third guy is too transparent for a human being. Noah's dance teacher enters the room and the class begins. Can you spot anything suspicious? The teacher is not reflected in the mirror. Noah's girlfriend Shelly works in a hotel. He's visiting her at work. Noah comes across these 2 cleaning ladies. One of them is a visitor from another planet. Can you guess who? Take a look at the lady in green. Her vacuum cleaner is unplugged, but it works. So she's the space stranger. Noah returns home and says hi to his siblings. One of them is in danger. Can you guess who? Jenny mixed sugar and salt. That will make her dish terrible. Not a big deal, but Nina is painting her clothes. She's wearing a facial mask instead of a respirator mask. Her nose, mouth, and eyes are not protected at all, so she's in danger. Noah goes to the shopping mall. He comes across 2 couples. Both look happy together, but one of these couples has a huge conflict. Can you guess which couple? This blonde lady holds a knife very close to her partner, but she just wants to buy it. The other lady looks charmed, but her partner hides poison behind her back. So they are the unhappy couple. The next morning, Noah arrives at the dance school to pass the entrance exams. He faces 5 judges. Can you spot anything weird here? Take a look at the wall. The guy in the painting is moving. Noah begins to dance. Suddenly, he slips and falls. Someone spilled oil on the floor. The judge takes a break and tells Noah that he can try again after lunch. Noah wants to know who sabotaged him. He finds 3 suspects and questions them. Shelly says that she live-streamed on social media during Noah's performance. Bobby says that he was in the toilet because of anxiety. and Susie says that she was applying makeup in the dressing room. Who spilled the oil? Take a look at Susie's makeup bag. There's an empty bottle of olive oil among her beauty products. Busted! Noah performs brilliantly in front of the judges and gets accepted into the school. He goes to a restaurant to celebrate. The waiter brings him something special. Can you guess what just by looking at this rebus? Mayonnaise. In the evening, Noah goes to a concert of his friend Donna. She's a famous singer. Donna's 3 biggest fans show up in the dressing room to meet her. After a while, Noah finds Donna unconscious and calls the police and an ambulance. All 3 of Donna's fans say they took her autographs and left. Noah searches the room and finds a temporary tattoo in the shape of Donna's signature. This means that one of these autographs is fake. Which one? The autograph on the First Lady's t-shirt is mirrored. It's unlikely that Donna managed to sign it this way. The next day, Noah goes to the safari park. He sees a tiger approaching these 2 guys. Only one of them is in danger. Can you guess who? The guy on the left. He's a tourist who's too busy to notice the tiger. Meanwhile, the right one works here. He has a badge, a protective hat, and a lasso, so he should know how to deal with tigers. It's Noah's first day at dance school. He enters the building and faces this scene. This guy loves her so much. Why did he push her? Look in the mirror. A cameraman is standing behind it. They're filming a movie. In the toilet, Noah realizes that he doesn't have any toilet paper. Thankfully, a guy in a stall nearby is willing to share his toilet paper. But only if Noah cracks his riddle. Nice guy. What can pass through water without getting wet? Can you help Noah out? The correct answer is light. Noah enters the local cafeteria. Harry, Aurora, and Carrie are drinking coffee. Meanwhile, Ellison, Lola, and Billy are drinking tea. What does Warren drink? There's a pattern here. The person with 2 R letters in their names drink coffee, and the people with 2 L's drink tea. Warren has 2 R's, so he must be drinking coffee. After classes, Noah takes a walk in the park. One of these people is a cop working undercover. Can you guess who? This lady. She's wearing a police badge. Noah returns home and realizes that his puppy is missing. The policeman arrives quickly. He searches the area and questions 2 neighbors. Ryan says he has his own big dog who's about to have puppies, so there's no reason for him to steal Noah's puppy. Mike says that he's never had pets and he doesn't plan to have them because of his allergy. The policeman arrests one of his neighbors. Can you guess who and why? Mike stole the puppy. He has shopping bags from a pet shop in his house. Therefore, his story is fake. The next morning, Noah returns to the dance school. Oh no! Someone broke into his locker and stole his dancing shoes. Noah calls the security guard and they question 4 suspects. When Billy entered the dressing room, Noah's locker was already open. The cleaning lady says that she only entered this room once to wash the floors early in the morning. She didn't open any lockers. Mike says there's no point in stealing Noah's shoes because his feet are much bigger. And Warren says his parents can afford to buy the whole city, so why steal someone's cheap shoes? Who's lying? Warren. If he's so rich, why is he wearing a fake Gucci sweater? Noah is visiting his girlfriend Shelly in the hospital. One of these three guys is her brother. Can you guess who? The third guy is her brother. They're twins, but with different hairstyles. Noah goes to buy some snacks for Shelly and gets lost in the hospital. He wanders around and finds another door with a combination lock, but he has to figure out the correct 4-digit code to open it. Can you help him? Take a look at these scratches on the door. It's a hint. Each symbol consists of 3 digits. They imply the numbers Noah must enter. So the code is 25117. Mike was on his way to visit his grandma, who lived on the other side of the valley. It was her anniversary, so he wanted to give her the cakes he had made. Between Mike's house and her house, the guy had to cross 5 bridges. And as it was in the land of make-believe, there was a troll under every bridge. Each troll insisted that Mike pay a troll toll. Before the guy could cross their bridge, he had to give them half of the cakes he was carrying. But since they were kind trolls, each of them gave Mike back an entire cake. How many cakes did Mike have to take with him to make sure that he arrived at his grandma's house with exactly 2 cakes? Mike needs to take 2 cakes. At each bridge, he's required to give half of his cakes, and he receives 1 back, which leaves him with 2 cakes after every bridge. Last week, the local primary school was visited by a school inspector who was there to make sure that teachers were performing well in the respective classes. He was very impressed with one particular teacher. The inspector noticed that each time she asked a question, every child in the class raised their hand, eager to answer it. Even more surprisingly, even though the teacher always chose a different child to answer the question, the replies were always correct. What was the secret? All the children were instructed to raise their hands whenever a question was asked. It didn't matter whether they knew the answer or not. If they did not know the answer, however, they had to raise their left hand. If they knew the answer, they would raise their right hand. The class teacher would choose a different child each time, but always only the ones who had their right hand raised. Mr. Brown opened a newspaper in the morning and saw a headline, "Workers want to make less money." He was confused until he read the article. What was going on? The workers who wanted to make less money worked at the mint and were tired of being overworked. They want to work less, which means making less money since the money is made at the mint. A frog is at the bottom of a well. To get out of it, it needs to climb 30 feet. Each morning, the frog jumps 3 feet up the path, but each night, as it sleeps, it slips 2 feet back down. Thus, at the beginning of the first day, the frog has 30 feet to go. At the beginning of the second day, it has 29 feet to go, and so on. How many days will it take the frog to get out of the well? It'll take 28 days for the frog to get out. In other words, it'll get out on the morning of the 28th day. This is because at the beginning of the 28th day, the frog has 3 feet left to travel. And since the frog jumps 3 feet forward each morning, it will jump out of the well on this day. A man worked for a high-security institution. One day, he went into work only to find that he could not log into his computer terminal. His password wouldn't work. Then he remembered that all the passwords were reset every month for security purposes. So he went to his boss and said, "Hey boss, my password is out of date." The boss answered, "Yeah, that's right. The password is different, but if you listen carefully, you'll be able to guess the new one. It has the same number of letters as your old password, but only 4 of the letters are the same." The man answered, "Thanks, boss," went back to his computer and correctly logged into his station. What was his new password? You'll get an extra smart bonus if you guess what his old password was. I'll give you a hint. The man's password is 9 letters long, and it can be more than one word. The old password was out of date, and the new one is different. The man said, "My password is out of date," and the boss told him the new one when he said, "The password is different." Many years ago, one guy was captured by an evil witch who kept him in her house. There was a cellar door in the house, and the witch warned the guy to never open it because he was not ready to see what was behind it. Can you guess what was on the other side of the door that the witch didn't want the guy to see? The guy was actually locked in the cellar, and on the other side of the door is the rest of the house and the outside world. The witch just didn't want the guy to escape. Marty and Jill want to copy 3 60-minute tapes. They have 2 tape recorders that will dub the tapes for them, so they can do 2 at a time. It takes 30 minutes for each side to complete. Therefore, in 1 hour, 2 tapes will be completed, and in another hour, the third will be done. Jill says all 3 tapes can be finished in 90 minutes. How is it possible? Jill will rotate the 3 tapes. Let's call them tapes 1, 2, and 3, with sides A and B. In the first 30 minutes, they will work with 1A and 2A. In the second 30 minutes, they will record 1B and 3A. Tape 1 is now done. Finally, in the last 30 minutes, they will tape 2B and 3B. Let's say you have 2 jugs. One of them holds exactly 3 gallons, and the other holds 5 gallons. With the help of just these 2 jugs and a fire hose, how can you measure out exactly 4 gallons of water? Fill the 5-gallon jug to the top, then pour it into the 3-gallon jug until it's full. You now have 2 gallons of water remaining in the 5-gallon jug. Pour out the water from the 3-gallon jug, and then pour the 2 gallons from the 5-gallon jug into the 3-gallon one. Finally, fill the 5-gallon jug to the top and pour it into the 3-gallon jug until it's full. There was only space left for 1 more gallon in the 3-gallon jug. So you now have exactly 4 gallons in the 5-gallon jug. One day, a boss told his employees, "I can fight and beat any man who works here." A new employee, a 7-foot-tall ex-prizefighter, decided to challenge the boss. Interestingly, the boss won the bet, even though he didn't defeat the man. What did the boss do? It's simple. Not to lose face, he fired the new employee on the spot so that he didn't work in the company anymore. Now let's check how attentive you are. Look at this note. Can you find a mistake here? The mistake is actually in the task itself, at the end. See? The word find is misspelled. The next task is even trickier. Can you spot a heart-shaped berry among all these berries? Right, here it is. Wow, that was tricky. Look at this watch. What's wrong with it? The time is messed up. After 8, we've got 11, then 10, and then 9. How about this image? What's wrong here? Actually, there's 2 mistakes here. The prices with the numbers 3 and 18 are placed upside down. This situation can't exist in reality. Why? If we compare the size of the cargo ship and the width of the passage, we'll understand that it's impossible for such a huge vessel to squeeze through such a narrow passage. And this picture, there's something seriously wrong with it. Can you figure out what exactly? Look at the calendar, September 31, but this date doesn't exist.
Daniel needed to visit his relatives in another city, so he boarded a train leaving from the railway station in his town. Not far from the station, there was a rather long tunnel. The train left the station and started to accelerate. Daniel's main problem was that he was a bit claustrophobic. What is the best place for him to sit? Daniel should sit at the back of the train. This way, he will spend minimum time inside the tunnel since the train is accelerating and moving faster and faster. Now let's say you have a bedsheet that is 50 inches long on each side, and you need to create 50 handkerchiefs with each side 1 inch long. It takes you 1 minute to cut out a 1-inch handkerchief. How long will it take you to cut 50 handkerchiefs? "49 minutes. When you finish the 49th handkerchief, you'll be left with 1 more piece of fabric you won't need to cut out. Lena, Allison, and Jenny are 3 daughters of mathematician George. When someone asks George about the ages of his daughters, he replies, "The current age of my daughters is prime. Also, the difference between their ages is also prime. So, how old are the girls?" Lena is 2, Allison is 5, and Jenny is 7. Their age difference is always a prime number. 7 minus 2 is 5. 7 minus 5 is 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. 7 criminals robbed a bank and hid the coins they got at a deserted factory. They decided to divide the money equally the next morning. But 2 greedy robbers wanted to deceive the others. They went to the factory at night and tried to divide the coins equally between them. But 1 coin was left. So they called another robber and decided to divide the amount equally among the 3 of them. Sadly, 1 coin was left again. The same thing happened when they called the 4th, 5th, and 6th robbers. Only when the 7th robber arrived in the morning did they manage to divide the coins equally. How many coins were there in total? There were 301 coins. This number can't be divided by 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 evenly. At the same time, 301 can be perfectly divided by 7. Now, look at these 2 ladies performing on the stage. Both of them have to do dangerous tricks. But can you figure out which of them is in real danger? It's the girl with the snake. This is a venomous snake. Someone replaced the harmless snake the girl had to use in her performance with this dangerous reptile. See that box with the warning sign the snake was taken from? The other girl is safe, even though the skirt seems to be burning uncontrollably. She's holding a special spray to extinguish the fire. On a tropical vacation, 4 friends decided to go snorkeling. Each friend spotted a different marine creature: a sea turtle, a clownfish, a starfish, and a jellyfish. Can you match each of the friends with the marine creature they spotted if Emma didn't see the sea turtle, Liam spotted the jellyfish, Olivia didn't see the clownfish, Jack saw the starfish? Emma spotted the clownfish, Liam saw the jellyfish, Olivia spotted the sea turtle, and Jack saw the starfish. After marveling at amazing sea creatures, our 4 friends rented 4 different watercraft: a kayak, a paddleboard, a jet ski, and a sailboat. Can you match each of the friends with the watercraft they rented based on these clues? Emma didn't rent the kayak or the sailboat. Liam rented the jet ski. Olivia was choosing between the paddleboard and the sailboat. Jack didn't rent the sailboat. Emma rented the paddleboat. Liam rented the jet ski. Olivia rented the sailboat, and Jack rented the kayak. So, I have keys but can't open any locks. I have a flat surface, but you can't stand on it. What am I? I'm a map. A system error caused the change in David's net banking password. To sort this out, he called customer care. This is the conversation he had with the assistant. David, my password has changed. Custom care executive, we have kept your password distinct this time. It has 8 letters, out of which 3 letters are the same as previous. David, okay, thanks. Can you determine the old and the new password of David's net banking account? The original password was changed, and the new password given by the custom care executive is distinct. In the 22nd century, robots live among people, and it's nothing out of the ordinary. But sometimes, they resemble people so much, it makes the detective work way harder. Like this time. Eric Blank, an experienced police officer, has to figure out which of the 3 suspects is guilty of identity theft. He knows for sure the culprit is a robot, but who isn't human? It's the girl in the middle. She has a USB port on the side of her neck. There is a wide field of corn. A goose finds its way into the field and starts running. Can you figure out up to which point the goose can run into the field? The goose can only run till the middle of the field. After that, it'll actually be running out of the field. Look at these 9 marbles and the way they're arranged. Can you move just 2 marbles to form a square? It can be done this way. Marta's shoes were all green except 2, all red except 2, and all pink except 2. How many shoes did Marta have? Just 3, one of each color. Janet had a dream. She wanted to become her professor's assistant. He was a famous and talented scientist. The man knew she was a smart girl, but before offering her the position, he decided to test her. The professor took her to a house with 2 rooms. They were completely isolated from each other. In one room, there were 3 switches. In the other room, there were 3 light bulbs. Janet had to stay in the room with the switches. She was allowed to go to the other room only once. She had to understand which switch was connected to each of the bulbs. The girl managed to solve this task. How did she do it? She turned on the first switch and waited for a minute. Then she turned it off. After that, she flipped the second switch and went inside the room with the bulbs. One of the bulbs was on. It was the one connected to the second switch. Janet touched the remaining bulbs. The warm one was connected to the first switch, and the cold one was linked to the third switch. You've drawn a long line. How can you make it even longer without touching it? You need to draw another shorter line nearby. In this case, the first one will be longer than the second one. I have 6 faces and 21 eyes, and still I can't see. What am I? I'm a dice. An empty bus arrived at a bus stop, and 15 people entered. At the next stop, 10 passengers left the bus, and 5 people fewer than at the first stop entered. After the third stop, 15 people left the bus. How many people are still inside? Only one person, the driver. Detectives have been trying to catch 2 infamous bank robbers for several years, and finally, after another robbery, they managed to capture one of the criminals. Police officers interrogated him for 2 days, but he said nothing about the stolen money or his accomplices' whereabouts. Still, in the next 24 hours, the detectives managed to find the place where the money was hidden. It was a small house in the suburbs. In its basement, there was a man who seemed very excited to see the police. He said he had been trapped in the house already for a week. Nobody visited him, and he was starting to run out of food. That's why he was so happy to read the good news in the paper. The police officers immediately realized he was the accomplice they had been looking for. How? If he was trapped in the basement, how could he get a hold of fresh newspapers?
Wake up! Wake up! Your brain workout is here. Put aside everything you need to do. It can wait. Take a few seconds for your mind to concentrate, and let's start. The first riddles are very simple, just to warm you up. But there's one condition. You need to give answers really fast. Now, a brother and a sister were born in the summer and in the winter. The sister wasn't born in the winter. The question is, who was born in the summer? Sister, but that was not my answer, duh. Alex is Charlie's father. Which of them was born later? Charlie. He's the sun, after all. The giraffe is taller than the lion, but shorter than the palm. Which animal is the tallest? The giraffe, of course. The palm is not an animal, right? If you have a cube with each of its edges 2 inches long, how many total square inches are all its 8 sides? Hard to say since any cube only has 6 sides. What is the correct way to say the yolk of eggs is white, or eggs yolk is white? Neither way is correct, since the yolk is yellow. When is a door not a door? When it's a jar. Huh, you must agree this is a good one. What can't fit even in the largest pot on Earth? The lid of this pot. If you don't believe me, go to the kitchen and check it out. What can be standing and going, standing and hanging, going and lying at the same time? A clock. Now, I've got a different task for you. Look at this picture and try to figure out who is not a teacher. Well, the lady on the left might not exactly fit the image of your average teacher. But she knows the students' names. Plus, she checks their grades on the phone and has a badge with her name. The second woman indeed looks like a grumpy teacher, but she is not. She's likely just someone's angry relative, scolding the students and holding the first thing she grabbed from the desk. Now your task is to answer these questions very, very fast. Let's see how quick your reaction is. What gets wet while drying? A towel. I'm light as a feather, yet the strongest person can't hold me for 5 minutes. What am I? One's breath. Where does today come before yesterday? Only in the dictionary. What can you catch but not throw? Ugh, a cold. Take care, guys. What has a head and a tail but no body? It's a coin. What tastes better than it smells? Of course it's your tongue. What is 3/7 chicken, 2/3 cat, and 2/4 goat? It's Chicago. What has words but never speaks? I'm talking about a book. Andrew had been sick for a week, so he asked his friend Jesse to take his books out of his locker at college. But instead of simply telling Jesse the 3-number combination he needed to open the locker, Andrew asked him to look for a small note under his locker. After school, Jesse went to Andrew's locker and pulled the paper out. This is what was written on the paper: 24, 24, 22, 9, 9, 9, 9, 22, 24, 22, 9, 9. Thinking this would be easy, but a little tedious, Jesse entered every arrangement of 24, 22, and 9 he could think of, but the lock didn't open. Realizing there was something behind these numbers that he wasn't noticing, Jesse sat down for a few minutes to think it out. After some time, Jesse went to the locker, entered a combination, and the locker opened. What was the combination? It was 28, 4, and 17, writing the 24th letter of the alphabet for each 24, the 22nd letter of the alphabet for each 22, and the 9th letter of the alphabet for each 9 give us the following letters. It is now clear that the combination is written in Roman numerals, and the only Arabic numerals corresponding to them are 28, 4, and 17. 3 men were in a store when Susan noticed that a pair of green pants was missing. Look at this picture and try to figure out which of these 3 guys stole the pants. It's the man on the right. Do you see something green sticking from under his dress pants? 4 friends were hiking in the mountains. At lunchtime, it started pouring down. The friends hid in a cave. They decided to go a bit further away from the entrance to protect themselves from the chilly wind. When they were already deep in the cave, Amelia discovered she'd lost her phone. The girl asked her friends to go and look for her gadget, and she was going to stay there and start a fire. In half an hour, the guys were back. James said he hadn't noticed a lake in the dark and had fallen into it. Oliver told her he had seen some bats, got terribly scared and rushed back. And Ethan nearly got lost. "I'm so happy I've made it back to you." Which guy behaved suspiciously? Ethan lied. James was soaked through after falling into the water. But why was Ethan's hair wet? It looks as if he was outside in the rain, but decided not to tell his friends about it. Jackson was going to marry the love of his life, Liza. But one day before the wedding, his fiancée disappeared. Her room was a mess. On her bed, Jackson found a note with several hastily written numbers: 5, 5, 0, 9, 7, 1, 0. Jackson knew 3 other guys were in love with Liza. Jaden was a landscape designer and often sent Liza beautiful flowers. Luke owned a gas station and usually tanked up the girl's car for free. And Asher was a hairstylist and helped Liza with her hair. All of these guys wouldn't be above taking the girl away to prevent her from marrying Jackson. But just one of them was actually guilty. Who? Jackson turned the note over and realized it read, "Oil Boss." It was Luke who had taken Liza away. Mr. Lawrence called the police. He said someone had taken his car for a joyride, had crashed it into a streetlight, and had then run away. The man was sure it had been one of his neighbors. The police questioned 3 of them. Ivy answered she had been at work and arrived home only in the evening. Cameron told the police he'd been helping his dad remove old stuff from the attic. And Aaron claimed he'd been hanging out with his friends, eating pizza, and binge-watching the latest series. After listening to all the suspects, the police officers arrested one of them. Who was it? It was Cameron. There's no attic in his house. He invented the whole story. Claire was the best student in her class. She was also friendly and kind. Her classmates loved how she always found a way to help them with tests. The end-of-the-year math exam, though, was tough. During it, no one was allowed to be at school except for the students and several teachers. Students had to leave their phones in a special locker. It wasn't allowed to talk at all. If students needed to go to the bathroom, they had to do it one by one, and the teacher checked the bathroom after each student. Claire's classmates thought they were going to fail the test. But Claire had an idea. And when the students got their exam results, they saw very good marks. Their teacher knew the students had cheated, but how? Claire was the first to go to the bathroom. She wrote the correct answers on the steamy mirror with her finger, and her classmates read the answers by breathing on the mirror.
Do you have an eagle eye? Let's check it out. Look at these pictures and try to figure out what's wrong here. Looks like a pretty usual scene to me, but something seems to be off. Can you understand what it is? The bus doesn't have any side mirrors or windshield wipers. How about this picture? What's wrong here? See that man in a yellowish shirt? It seems that he's holding his umbrella over his head, but in reality, the umbrella is floating in the air. The man isn't touching it. Oh, that's nice. Seaside and palm trees. But a few things are definitely off in this image. How many can you find? First of all, what is that tap that is pouring water into the sea? Then, that girl on the left is definitely dressed too warmly for the seaside. Instead of flowers, this young lady is holding some broccoli. And this girl is building a sandcastle with the help of a fork. Okay, the next image for you. Are there any mistakes here? Have you noticed that this electric cord is ripped? It's very, very dangerous and may cause a fire. These people seem to be having a blast at the pool, but not all of them are doing it correctly. Who's made mistakes here? This guy on the left has forgotten to take off his boots before diving into the pool. That young lady has brought along an iron. No one cares about this duck with its ducklings enjoying a swim. And that lifeguard is playing the sax instead of watching people. If you noticed all those mistakes, great job. The next image is for you. What's wrong here? Have you spotted that colorful snake slithering next to the wall? What is it doing here? As far as I know, Santa Claus isn't supposed to be in the classroom as well. Then that girl is using a carrot instead of a pen. And the guy in the bottom right corner is brushing his teeth, right in the classroom. Here we see people walking in the park on a lovely sunny morning. But not all of them are doing reasonable things. Can you find out what's wrong with this picture? Is that a tiger? I'm not sure you're allowed to bring these animals to parks. Instead of a kite, this girl is playing with a bathtub. This elderly lady is eating a blue apple. And there are two suns in the sky. Ah, it explains everything. It must be happening not on Earth. Look at this picture. Where is the bank robber hiding? He's over there, behind the bushes. The bank robber has managed to escape from the police. Try to figure out where he's hiding now. See that maintenance hole? That's where the criminal is. This robber is just too fast. He's escaped again and is now hiding in one of these fitting rooms. Help the police find him. He must be in the middle fitting room. See that bag with all the cash he has stolen? Look at this image carefully and try to figure out what's wrong here. In reality, the guy is holding a tube of toothpaste in his left hand, but in the reflection in the mirror, he's got nothing in his hand. How about this picture? What's wrong here? Is this lady charging her cat? This picture looks off too, but what exactly seems strange? It's the girl in the front. She isn't reflected in the water. Now, the next image to challenge your observation skills. Does anything strike you as odd in this picture? Look at the TVs. They show different things in reality and in the reflection in the mirror. Now, let's wind down a bit. Don't take this next riddle seriously, okay? What do you call a fish that wears a bow tie? You call it sophisticated. Got it? Another one for you. What time is it when an elephant sits on a fence? Duh, it's definitely time to fix the fence. What kind of band never plays music? Rubber band, of course. Tear me off and scratch my head. What once was red is now black. What am I? I'm a match. And now, a bit of math. How can you move one number to make this equation true? Move the number 2 half a line up, and you'll get this. Now, you're in a library, trying to get a book, you knock a chair over. All of a sudden, there are 22 pairs of eyes looking at you. How many people are there in the library? There are 12 people. 22 eyes most likely belong to 11 people, plus you, 12 altogether. Look at these hands. Which one doesn't belong here? It's the hand in the fourth picture. It's the only one which is left. Mark needed to get some documents from his colleague's safe. If he didn't, he'd get fired the next day. But it turned out to be a tricky task. The safe had a password, and Eric had no idea how to crack it. It was a combination of letters, OTTFFSS, and the last 3 letters are missing. Can you figure out what they are? The missing letters are ENT. All of them are the first letters of the numbers from 1 to 10. Ms. Nelson, an art teacher at school, had to organize an event, and a big concert was a part of it. But the event had to take place the next day, and she still needed to find one more performer. There were several talented students at her school, and she decided to invite them. But Daniel, who played the guitar very well, told his teacher that he had lent his instrument to a friend and wouldn't get it back anytime soon. Sophia, who was an amazing singer, answered the teacher that she had a sore throat and couldn't sing at all. And Luna, who was a professional dancer, claimed that just a few days before she had sprained her ankle, and the doctor had prohibited her from moving this leg too much. Ms. Nelson was very upset, but could do nothing to change the situation. But when she saw these 3 students at the concert the next day, she found out that one of them had lied to her. Who was it, and how did she understand? Luna had lied to her teacher. If she had sprained her ankle, she wouldn't be able to wear high heels. 3 college friends met after a summer break. Each of them wanted to boast about how cool their vacation was. Lily described how she and her boyfriend had gone to Paris and seen the city from the top of the Eiffel Tower.
Yay!
Dylan told his friends that he had traveled to Africa with his parents. But on their last day, there was a massive volcanic eruption, and it didn't spoil their rest only because they flew back home that day. And Ellie said that she had visited her uncle in Texas and learned to ride a horse. She even participated in some competitions. Of course, all the stories were great, but one of them was fake. Which one was it? Dylan's story was fake. He couldn't fly home on the day of the eruption because when something like this happens, all flights get canceled. A man called the police. "My wife, she got in a car accident." When the police arrived, the woman had already been rushed to a hospital. The detectives found out that she had crashed into a tree right next to her house. One of the police officers examined her car and saw the woman's bag. Inside, he found her driving license and a car key, some money and bank cards, a notebook, and her passport. After that, the husband was immediately arrested. Why? How could the woman's car key be in her bag if she had been the one driving?
Yeah.